November 18th, 2025. This is a S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. It was, in my opinion, wasn't the most obvious day. It was a little, or I just wasn't in tune. These bars were actually pretty large because the ATR was really large, so it was causing these huge swings. And as you can see, the EMA, well, let me just go ahead and turn off the lines. The EMA at certain sections was helping because you could use it as a key entry point to find a trend. But then other times it was just price action was just cutting right through it. So you couldn't use it as a key entry point, in which case you think you might be trading range rules, but they didn't create consistent highs and lows to have range highs, support, and resistance areas being super reliable. Now I did manage to take one trade, which is right here, and it was profitable. But overall, the entire day, if you just look at a higher time frame, it looks like it was one big leg down, two legs up, another sideways consolidation, and then a sell-off. There's really no economic data to really move the market, but it was just kind of a choppy day. I don't know if I mentally wasn't quite in tune with everything, but I found it not the easiest. It was a little ambiguous, harder to trade today for me. There's also a lot of price action. It was pretty high volume. So I'm going to try to go through this quickly. In the pre-market, you see this gigantic sell-off, bounce, and then test the low. Then it pushes up on this orange up channel, kind of has this sideways consolidation, another sell-off, bounce, sell-off, and then it opens. So on the open, it kind of pushes up a little bit. And when I see this, I really don't have an idea what the bias of the market is. It is creating lower highs every time when you see this in real time, but it doesn't really seem like it's figured itself out yet. It's just super noisy. So then hits a localized low, pushes up, break of the green up channel, test the high, pushes down, creates a first entry long pullback, second entry long, and then creates a higher low right here. Now, this higher low, I think would have been a possible trade instead of an almost trade if it didn't have so much dwell time below the EMA. But I had to factor in the point that the EMA here isn't really helpful. It's just kind of cutting through the price action. So this, I saw a higher low, and in real time, I was thinking it might have been a possible trade, but it was a little ambiguous. So I had to leave it alone. I also did have this trend line drawn at this point, one touch, two touch, three touch, as soon as prices carried through to this point. And I want to point out on this chart, there are a lot of second entries, both long and short by the technical counts, but the context wasn't quite right. And oftentimes the signal bar had these long tails that weren't favorable to the direction you're trying to trade. So I'll kind of point them out as I see them. So it creates a new low, first entry short, pullback, second entry short. So this is your second entry short setup right here. Now it's above the EMA. EMA is a little ambiguous, so you don't really know if it's going to act as support or resistance. I didn't have this gray down channel drawn yet, so you only had one touch and at most the swing starting from here. So this doesn't exist yet, so is what you see in real time. Pushes up. This is where you actually have a third touch, but by then the trade has already set up. There's really no setup here. Pushes down, break, pushes down. Now the EMA might be coming into play, but it has a first entry short here, pushes up. Now I trust, because this is pretty much the fourth touch confirmation of this gray down channel, I trust this as a potential key entry point right now. I wasn't sure where the bottom of this channel was, so I placed it here, but I was keeping the option open that it might actually be starting from here and here. But as things priced through, the more important thing seemed like the high side resistance side was more important because I was looking to go short. Prices move down. You only have a first entry short. You have a second entry short. Not the best setup. Prices continue moving down. And at this point, I drew this as a green down channel because it looked like it was fitting pretty well. It's like a spike in a downward channel. And it creates actually the first potential setup that I saw. So I was thinking prices are moving down currently in this green down channel. It's a new low. It's a first entry short pullback, second entry short. I thought this is a possible trade. Bounce off the resistance of this green down channel, depending on how you drew it, or it could be a breakout. And this is the first breakout, so you're expecting a push back down to test the low. Decent signal bar, pretty much close enough. If you count it, it's pretty much a touch EMA rejection with a good signal bar, enough room for a 2-point scalp. Prices then continue moving down. Breaks out of the screen down channel. This is a small break, so I was actually hoping or expecting a test of this green down channel because I didn't think this is a full, complete break that, this is tested the low because I actually had it slightly this way at one time. So I had it as no breaks. So I'm expecting a test of the low. You have a first entry short. Technically, you have a second entry short. This is your signal bar to try to go short, but it wasn't very good. After this flushes down, I need a lower high. And you don't get a lower high before it breaches and makes new low of days. So prices continue moving. It just keeps pushing down. So I'm just kind of sitting, watching and waiting. I try to make other channels fit. Something like this. Extend this down. Just push this down. Here, I was thinking at one time, okay, there's really no setup here, but am I going to get a first time rejection? And it pushes through and out. So now it looks like it's starting to reverse. I'm going to go ahead and delete this for now. New low. Technically, I have a visual first entry short. Second entry short. No setup. No lower high. You do have a higher low here, but this is very tight trading. It was a new high, localized. First entry long, pullback. Second entry long, and then you have a higher low. Higher low didn't bounce off the EMA. The only thing going for it is you're expecting a break of this orange up channel is going to test the high, but this isn't the best signal bar. There technically is enough room for a 2-point scalp, but it felt a little aggressive. I just didn't like the signal bar. Just kind of decided it wasn't really a trade to take. Pushes down, so it's a push down on this green down channel. First entry long, pullback. Second entry long, but you're expecting maybe, so first it was a break of this green down channel. It tested the low. Now you have first entry long, second entry long. I'm looking for a higher low. You unfortunately don't get a higher low, but I do think you do have a triple test on this potential developing range. Unfortunately, nothing's set up to take advantage of it. Pushes down. Break this pink down channel, test the low. So I'm thinking maybe it's played out. I was playing with the idea that potentially the low of the range might be somewhere here, but you really don't have any confirmation. So it feels like you're adjusting the range to make a setup. So I didn't really think that was right. So put it right here. So first entry long pullback. Technically, you have a second entry long looking for a higher low, and you don't get a higher low. So that was kind of the day kind of proceeds like this, where there's a lot of choppy, whippy things, and it felt like it was kind of trappy. So pushes out, break of the green up channel, tests and pushes the high. Potential fail breakout of this gray down channel. Now this gray down channel, I actually trust this line a lot now because it's 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch, 4 touch, potentially a 5th touch. So I'm thinking this is definitely a good key entry point. You have a new low, first entry short, pullback, second entry short. You can reset the count here. It's a first entry short, pullback. Technically, I have a second entry short completed here, but this isn't the signal bar. I just didn't feel it. If this had just closed with a lower toward the bottom, with adding to the rejection off of this gray down channel, I would have probably tried to take this trade. But unfortunately, the signal bar stopped me. Prices continue chopping sideways. It looks like it's range bound now. So it's a new low, first entry short, technically second entry short. It just looks very congested here because this signal bar is technically inside this one, and this guy is inside this one, inside this one. And this guy is the first one that kind of broke out. So it just feels a little indecisive. Creates a second entry long here. So it's a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long, added with the fact that it might be bouncing off support, but technically you could argue maybe there's a triple test, but I didn't like there's a long stem here and this long stem here. If there was another long stem here, then I would trust the triple test. Prices move up. Again, this is acting as a pretty decent resistance. Pushes down, potential fail breakout. New low, first entry short, and that kind of breaches and pushes down to the low again. So this is just noisy. I don't think I was quite in tune to really get a good idea of where things are going. So I just pretty much sat on my hands right here. Prices move down, break of the green down channel, test the low. it just gets really noisy right here. And like this signal bar here is like an 8-point signal bar, which just feels really risky trying to take anything here. Just gets noisy, chopping. It's new high, first entry long pullback. You have a second entry long, it's a bad signal bar, doji with the body, if you could even call it that, near the low. I did see a potential resistance area here, and I was hoping for more confirmations to the high side to think there might be a trading range that we're operating in. But again, this is just noisy side by side, just big candles, or even candles that have small bodies with big wicks. Pushes down. This gray down channel still acting decent. It's a new low. First entry short pullback, second entry short. That's above the EMA now and outside this gray down channel, which feels like it's losing power because prices here, as you notice, are making higher lows. So the bullish momentum seems to be starting to switch upwards because bears are having trouble pushing it further down. What does that mean? I'm not really sure. It just didn't translate to any trades or a clear bias that I could identify. Prices then continue chopping, pushes down, continues downward. It looks like it's moving down on this green down channel. The new low, it's a first entry short. Really noisy here. Again, it's breaking out of this gray down channel, which fit really nicely before, but now it's seeing these overshoots, these violations, which is telling me the bulls are definitely trying to put up a fight now. So buyers seem like they're coming in, pushes upwards. There's no clean second entries. I did draw this as a trend line, and I thought, okay, there might be a trend channel here. It's a new high, first entry long. Pull back. Technically, you have a second entry long here. I actually thought this is a possible trade because it's bounced off this confirmed great up channel trend line. Break of this orange down channel looks like it was one attempt. Now you might think it might make a second attempt down, but I was basing the strength of this support and the EMA is showing some decisiveness now that prices might be moving up. I thought this is a possible trade. I also like that it moved below and engulfed the previous bar. So it would have worked. Hoping for a higher low. You kind of get a higher low here, but it's away from everything, so no real trade there. Pushes up. No clean trades here. I mean, if you're able to get in on this, you might have been able to ride a runner up. There's technically a second entry long here. It's a bad signal bar. Just looks like it's congested. It looks like it's in a trading range now. The fail breakout pushes down. There is a triple test, like one touch, maybe two touch, depending on how you counted it. But one touch, two touch, I said there's potential third touch bouncing off this gray up channel. And that's actually where I take my first trade. So I'm going to zoom in here. Clearly there's an up channel moving. Prices looks like it's starting to reverse up. This is undeniable that there was a strong sell-off. Well, a gradual choppy sell-off, but this is a very strong pushback up. Prices look like they're obeying this gray up channel at the moment. It also looks like it might be in a trading range. There's a fail breakout on this side. This I thought might have been a good enough fail breakout because I don't know that prices are going to try to make any move further down when the EMA is acting as support now, as well as the other key entry point of this gray up channel. And the third key entry point is I'm bouncing off the bottom of a range. Now, you had a triple test here. I saw this as a new high, first entry long, clearly right here, then pushed down. It broke below this guy, then pushed back up. So I saw it as a first entry long, pull back, push down, push back up, second entry long. So I like this trade. I entered at the high of this guy to try to save a little bit of risk. And then I was going for 2 points. So I pushed through. When it came down, I thought I might have gotten stopped out. I thought I might have read it wrong because my stop's below here, but it made a matching bottom. And I think I was 2 ticks away from being stopped out. But then it also, when it closed, I thought there's a higher low. If I wasn't in this trade already, I would probably have tried to jump on this trade, expecting it push back up to the high side. But as this one was forming, and it didn't close yet, I thought I was probably going to get stopped out if it breached below this candle. But when it closed, I said, there's actually a higher low. I certainly was going to add to my position. I want to see how that played out. It pushes up. I got my 2 point scalp. Then prices move up. And it chops around. There's a fail breakout here. Another fail breakout here. Looks like the range is getting wider. New high, first entry long, pullback, technically a second entry long. I don't really like the setup, not the best signal bar. These signal bars were nicer because they're a little bit more bullish. Another failed breakout here, pushes down. Break this orange down channel, so makes one attempt down. Technically made a second attempt down. Here when it bounced, I extended and you can see I superimposed a second trading range here, which kind of starts here and is engulfs this one. I also noticed that prices look like they're slowly trending down on this yellow shallow down channel. It's technically a new low, first entry short. You might have a second entry short here, except I don't like that this is the inside bar. So this would have worked, but I just didn't like the inside bar. Gets noisy, pushes down. So this red range isn't in play anymore. It was only important back here when all this hadn't developed yet. Now I'm not sure this blue one's in play, but I think this yellow down channel, the shallow one, might be more important than this blue one. Even though the blue one had one touch, two touch, three touch support, it just looks like this yellow one might be in play. Bounces, gets pretty noisy. You do have a new low, first entry short, second entry short. I thought there might have been a trade here, except I just didn't like that there's running into the lows here. So I'd be selling, I am going with trend, but I'd be selling into the lows, which I didn't really like. Prices continue moving. There's a breakout of this yellow down channel. Again, now I don't know that this range, this blue one, is in play anymore. Doesn't seem like it's relevant. Prices push down, so it's a new low. First entry short, pullback, second entry short. There's a second entry short here, but in real time, it's hard to trust this as a potential move back down because I see a breakout here. I'm expecting a potential fail breakout on this side. So it pushes down. So it's a first entry short, second entry short. I'm thinking a failed second entry short, ideally confirmed by a higher low to push back to the high side. But it doesn't do that. It does create a lower high here. So it's a new low, first entry short, second entry short, lower high. Technically, the concern here and why it's an almost trade is if you try to sell here, you're going to sell into a point or a section where prices had problems pushing below. But in case it did work, pushes down, kind of reverses. It's a new low, first entry short, pull back. You really don't get a second entry short till way up here. By that time, I'm not thinking of going short. I'm not really sure why this strong push even happened. And as you can see, it happened in the span of 10 minutes. So this could be a lower high. So it could be a first entry short, second entry short, pullback, a lower high potential. It does engulf this one. But then it gives you a potential second entry long, which I actually like a lot better. I thought it was a possible trade because it's a new high, first entry long, pullback, second entry long. Looks like it's 2 legs down. Technically, your second entry long is made right here because this candle ticked above this one, but it looks more visual. First leg down, pull up, second leg down, bounce off the EMA. Orange up channel has to test the high. So I thought this is a possible trade. The prices move up. You could argue maybe there's a higher low here. This green up channel wasn't confirmed yet because it's only one touch, two touch at this point. You only really have first entries at this point. Pushes, creates, gives you this higher low, which I also thought might have been a possible trade. So it's new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long pullback, higher low. EMA is acting as a decent support now. Break of the screen up channel needs to test the high. It looks like it's break, first attempt up. This could be the second attempt up. This trading range doesn't exist yet, so I can't use that as a key entry point. Not that it even helps this particular setup, but this one is also, it's a 3 points. It's a see, it's a 14 tick, no, 14, yeah, 14 tick candle, which is big normally, but on a day like this, it's actually small and feels manageable. So this probably would have worked. Well, actually, it would have worked. Prices move. EMA is still hard holding as support, but I can see that it's flattening out. Starts pushing down. This is when I established this trading range because I saw, okay, it starts here. It's one touch, two touch. The high side is one touch, two touch, three touch, four touch. So it looks like it's trading within this range. This is a first entry long pullback. Potential second entry long, but this is your signal bar. I don't really like that. Potential fail breakout of this blue trading range. This gets noisy. New high, first entry short. Potential second entry short, except it's an inside bar to this. Didn't even close the low, which I would have wanted. This blue trading range looks like it's in play now. It starts breaking out, and I thought maybe the blue trading range, so this is what we were working with before, the range could have maybe been extended or expanded. Maybe this is actually the range low, which is this red line. Potential fail breakout, push down. You have a second entry long here. It's a new high, first entry long pullback, second entry long. When I'm looking for a second entry long, I'm looking for a break above this. And this follow through, I felt would have been aggressive, but it's actually inside to this guy. Decent close. Now, ideally, this would have ticked below this guy and then pushed up strongly like this to show that maybe there were some sellers that pushed it down, but then they all got trapped. Pushes, continues. So there's two breakouts of the high of this blue trading range that I thought maybe there's some kind of resistance here. That's where I drew this red line. Pushes down, so it's testing this potential low of this other range that I think might be in play. Pushes back in. This gets a little noisy. It's new low. First entry short, pull back. Technically, you have second entry short here, but it's a visual first entry, second entry. No clean setup that I really like. New high, first entry long, pull back, second entry long. Not a clean follow through. It just gets a little noisy and congested. I noticed that there was a potential triple test here, but I don't know what to do with it. This is why the day was a little, I guess, ambiguous and complicated for me, because it's creating consistent highs and lows, but it also initially created some highs and lows. So I have like these overlapping ranges. So it's hard to know if this line is in play. Prices are going to try to get pulled back up to here, or maybe this line's in play, or maybe it was this line, or potentially this blue support of this blue trading range. Because I mean, overall, you can tell it's chopping sideways. So you know there's a big range here, but inside this bigger range, there's areas where there looks like it's respecting. So I don't know like how to, or I wasn't sure when that price action was going to respect those potential support and resistance areas. So that kind of added some complications, made it a little ambiguous for me. New high, first entry long pullback, second entry long EMA here. Absolutely no help because look, prices are pushing both above and below it. This is just chopping sideways. This is noise. You have to pretty much trade range rules, but it's hard, at least for my experience, hard to trade range rules when I don't trust the highs and lows of the range necessarily. So pushes down, pushes up, first entry short, pullback. You technically have a second entry short. It's a triple test here. Of course, I don't know that in real time. I mean, it's a triple test, but I don't know to trust this in real time. So it pushes down. Now I'm looking for a lower high. You might have a lower high here, and it actually pushes down. But as you can see, if you look at the timestamp, this is only 3 minutes, and there's a lot of oscillation, a lot of noise happening. So that also kept me out of the market because I don't want to get stuck on some of these. Because like this candle by itself is 6.25. This candle itself is also pretty large. It's like 4.5 points. The prices continue moving. It's just noisy. It feels really risky, just a little bit indecisive and whipsawy. It's a low, which I think, okay, maybe this red line's in play, except you could easily say maybe there's something even lower. So that added to the confusion. That contributed to me feeling like I'm not quite in tune. Just be extra careful, be grateful for the one trade, and just kind of leave things alone. Plus, there's only about an hour left. I wasn't going to try to make anything happen, especially on a day where I don't feel like I have a good read on what's going on. The prices continue moving. It just gets noisy. Big candles side by side, noisy. I thought it might be in a trading range here. You technically have a triple test here, but I didn't feel like I could do anything with this. Pushes down on this red down channel break, test the low. First entry short, technically a second entry short here. This red line, whether it's going to be a factor or not, at this point, I wasn't really sure. And actually, trying to study this and figure this out was mentally exhausting. So I usually stop, now I usually stop focusing and looking for serious trades after 10 o'clock Pacific Standard. And unless something just sets up that looks absolutely clear, obvious, and I feel strongly about, I likely don't take any additional trades after 10 o'clock. And that's contributing. I mean, what contributes to that is also if I already have a win for the day, I don't want to give that back. Then prices continue moving. It's just getting super noisy. Pushes down this orange down channel, break on the low side, test the low. I thought it might be in this transparent red down channel, but as you can see, into the close, starting from here is the last 10 minutes. This last 10 minutes, there's a ton of candles here. Even from the last 30 minutes, it just gets really choppy. You can tell the overall bias in the context, but I wasn't really going to venture to try to take any trades after that. So it wasn't the easiest day. It certainly was really whippy on news that I couldn't really determine why I was doing that. So it's just really whippy, hard to really know where my if I was trading the range, the highs and lows were. So kind of a yeah, mentally exhausting day. Hopefully it was helpful.